Hello everybody and welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 7th of January 2019. I'm Fab and I'm talking to you from Hamburg where it's, let me just check, it's gray and drizzling, of course, on a Monday morning, which calls for coffee. I'm sorry I'm a bit late this morning. I had to go to the post office and explain to them that Dot Industries is a valid TLD. Yeah, I hope they got that now. You can imagine how that went. Anyway, let's get into the tech news, and let's get you caught up with that. So first of all, we had actually at the very beginning of this month, I think on New Year's Eve, there was a well-known hacker or hacker group called the Dark Overlord. Who you might remember because they leaked last year. I think they leaked episodes of Orange is the New Black, Netflix show that wasn't released, and they tried to extort money from Netflix, but they didn't budge, so they leaked stuff on the internet. Now they've leaked papers from court proceedings around the September 11th attacks in 2001. Which interestingly didn't get that much media attention for what it is for the topic. I actually looked into these files, and they're quite interesting. They seem to be from legal firms, chiefly from two court cases. One was people that got injured in the attacks, or their or people who died, the people left behind, suing airlines, the airlines whose planes were hijacked. And the other one was from real estate developers, including Larry Silverstein, whose company leased the World Trade Center complex a few months before the attacks from the New York Port Authority. And that's just a big trove of quite some of them highly confidential documents. Actually, quite interesting looking into these. Also, because I mean, some of this is obviously like from the FBI and from like Secret Service kind of intelligence stuff that got provided in these court cases under pretty severe NDAs, I guess, and that's now all leaked. Also interesting aspect is that the Dark Overlord, the group doesn't seem to have a lot of luck just extorting money. So what they're now doing is basically crowdsourcing these releases. So they are on a platform called Steemit, where you can pay Bitcoin for them to release that, and they seem to be making quite a bit of money of that. Which I found interesting. In other news, we had in December, you might have heard that Heathrow was shut down. Heathrow and Gatwick. No, actually, that was Gatwick. Yeah, so Gatwick Airport was shut down for a while because there were drones. There were drones flying around. So, and then the UK, the British Army came in and deployed some anti-drone defenses, anti-drone weaponry, and now the news is that Heathrow and Gatwick airports both have bought anti drone defenses. We don't know what they are though. Actually, there's quite a few interesting methods to shoot down drones. There's like net launchers that launch like these, basically like in gladiator nets that'll just get the drones down. People have trained birds of prey to shoot down drones. You can do it with shotguns. There's like special ammunition. You can jam the electronics, although I'm not quite sure that you want to do that close to a big airport. I'm not sure if that's a smart move. So we don't know what kind of technology they have now, but it's interesting. Airports are now getting anti-drone weapons. It's quite interesting. Anyway, in Germany we have actually a bit of this was big stories in the UK, but a big story in Germany right now. I talked about that on the last show. Was this like hacker attack? It's been termed a hacker attack. It's basically somebody amassed a lot of private data, phone numbers, ID cards, copies, all this kind of stuff, WhatsApp chats, just random personal data of people, and has basically just released this. So it's basically huge docs, and this has happened in December. So most of this data was released as an advent calendar kind of thing, but nobody really noticed. And then this hacker hacked a Twitter account of a German YouTuber called Unge, who's quite famous actually. He has quite a lot of followers, and promoted his like leak, and this is when people noticed now. Interestingly, all this data seems to be like amassed from a lot of different sources. Basically, there's data belonging to over 1,000 German politicians in there, but it's all, well, a lot of it, or there's a lot of stuff on YouTubers, and a lot of these people are kind of like left-leaning, so that's the thing people started noticing. I think I talked about on the last show that there wasn't any AfD stuff in there. So it seems to be that this guy is actually in YouTube security circles, actually a quite well-known hacker who's been doxing YouTubers for quite a while, but hasn't gotten any attention for that, basically. Certainly not in the mainstream media, just like in YouTube circles. And now he's gone and basically brought down the whole might of the German press on him. It's been all over the news. People have been calling it the biggest hacker attack in German history, which is obviously bullshit, because it's not a hacker attack. It's just data that's been released. But anyway, now people have been woken up. The BSI, the Bundesamt für Sicherheit in der Informationstechnik, if you want to get it right, they're the German government office that is responsible for IT security for big firms and the government. They've been criticized because apparently they knew about this for a few weeks and didn't tell anybody, or didn't tell enough people. I don't know what they should have done. I mean, they might have gone to Twitter and gotten this account down earlier, but I don't know. Interestingly enough, though, they have now, this morning, the news from this morning actually is that the police has now raided somebody who is not the hacker. It's a German security consultant who was in contact with the hacker and has been saying so on Twitter. So they went to his house. They questioned him for hours, and as far as I can tell, took all of his equipment, which is a bit bad. He says the German federal police is basically just questioning him as a witness, but it seems that early on they thought he might be the hacker. But anyway, it's I mean, this is bad news for the guy, because they took all his computers. If you're like, this is horrible. This is the worst thing that can happen to you if you're a security researcher. Police comes and, like, even if they figure out that you're that you're innocent, they'll be holding all of your computers for like evidence for months, maybe years. If there's a court case coming, it might be years. This is horrible. It's really bad. They also, I don't think they give you money. They just take your stuff and they say, well, you can have it back once we're done. You can have it back in 3 years. Like, great. Like my cutting edge gaming computer won't be like cutting edge in 3 years anyway. Oh, so that's a bit bad. Now there's people now saying they probably won't catch that hacker guy because the German officials are quite a bit behind the curve when it comes to techie stuff, such as YouTube. I don't know. This is a big story. This is huge. This is the story of the year so far in German IT news. I mean, the year isn't old, but this will keep us busy for quite a while. There's now politicians calling, oh, we need better laws, or how can we protect ourselves? It's like, if you know anything about IT security, this must be quite laughable to you. So let's move on to something more interesting, which is tomorrow on Tuesday, CES is starting, the formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, now just called CES. The artist formerly known as Consumer Electronics Show. I don't know. It's officially starting tomorrow, but as these things go, the big companies have their press conferences earlier because they basically want to steal the thunder. And we had Nvidia and Samsung have announced stuff already. But this is going to be the story of the week for you. There'll be lots of IT news coming down the pipe this week, just like consumer electronic stuff, self-driving cars, all this kind of stuff that they show there. Generally, CES, an interesting show. Historically, it used to be quite out there. They used to show stuff that was years down the line, and often you would see stuff that IT nerds, the IT press would find really interesting. Tech people were like, "Oh, this is gonna be great," and then you never saw it. It never got mass produced. The show changed quite a bit, I think, over the recent years. Now it's actually they show a lot of stuff that'll be in stores quite soon, or in a few months' time. But there's still stuff out there. There's a lot of AI. This year there's the self-driving cars, IoT and big TVs. Big TV seems to be a big thing, which I personally I'm not really interested about. I don't watch TV. For me, TV is just a big monitor basically, and I don't know. It's just not my thing. But there'll be stuff. There's foldable smartphones apparently. VR. Who cares about VR? I don't know. Stuff. Interestingly, I found the most interesting thing for me was that Nvidia has finally announced a graphics card that seems reasonably priced, or reasonably priced. I mean, as far as gamers are concerned. So they announced the RTX 2060, which will be $350. And is apparently faster than a 1070 Ti. So this is the first affordable. I mean, this is first world problems, right? But the first affordable RTX graphics card, and the first cheaper graphics card that Nvidia has actually talked about in quite a while. Well, that they made like PR stuff about. That I think they've realized that. Lots of gamers are like, I'm not gonna spend, I don't know, $1,200 for a graphics card. I mean, I have like this PC I'm running this on has like a graphics card that cost like 700 euros back in the day, and for me that was like, wow, that's like, I'm never gonna spend any more than this. So maybe they've realized that they need some more, some headline products that are actually affordable to people, even gamers who tend to spend too much money on this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the news for this week. I mean, you'll get a lot of, if you're in Germany, you'll get a lot of more about that hacker attack, and you'll get wherever you live. Bumping into the mic there. Wherever you live, you get a lot of CS news, big TVs, stuff like that. Another thing I wanted to mention that I found interesting from CES was actually that Samsung announced that they're going to have, they did a deal with Apple that they're going to have iTunes on their smart TVs, which means you can get your iTunes TV shows that you bought and your movies. I personally never bought anything like that off iTunes, but if you have that, you can watch that on your Samsung TV, which is a big deal, especially because Samsung and Apple have a difficult history. I mean, Samsung traditionally, Apple is a big customer of Samsung's. I mean, they buy a lot of, used to buy a lot of screens of them, like phone displays and also flash RAM, I think. But they've also had a lot of troubles with like lawsuits and because Samsung obviously a big Android phone manufacturer, they had lots of patent clashes and stuff like that. So it's interesting that they seem to gotten back together again to make this deal. Yeah, and that's about this. It's about it for the week. But I have one more story. So I think I've decided that I like to close these with a little off the wall kind of crazy story. And my story for the week is that IKEA in Germany has now announced that they will be releasing smart window blinds, and they're calling them Furtür. My Swedish isn't good. Yeah, so they are like connected smart window blinds. I guess they go up and down when you tell them to. I don't know how much smarter a window blind can be. I mean, what can they do? Can they mine bitcoins? Yeah, I find these things hilarious because I don't, I'm a quite security focused guy, and I'm thinking like, oh God, we've got too many computers and they're all vulnerable anyway. And now I need computers to make my window blinds go up and down. I mean, I can do that. I have window blinds here. Just like use your hand. I mean, at what point you're not expending any energy anymore, just sitting in the chair. It's like, oh, window blind up. Blind eye. I mean, I guess it's cool, in the whole Star Trek thing to go like, oh, computer, lights, but I don't know. Anyway, I found this story interesting. So if you want smart window blinds, IKEA Germany will soon have them. Apparently, they have a small motor, and a special mesh that darkens the windows, and it has like a rechargeable battery for the motor. You can order them online from the 2nd of February at IKEA in Germany, if you're interested in that. Anyway, that was your tech news for the day. I hope you enjoyed this second episode of Morning Call. If you wanna comment on this, there's always, you can live, when I'm doing this live, you can be in Twitch chat. I have a Discord. If you go to sixgun.org, there's a link there to the Discord server. You can just, talk to me on Twitter. I'm Fabsh, Fabsh, Foxtrot, Alpha Bravo, Sierra Hotel. I'll be happy for your input. And yeah, I hope this works for you. And I'll see you tomorrow for another morning call. Have a good day. Goodbye.